looking only. I commend the bill to the House, Mr Speaker.
Ian McKelvie.
Speaker, just opportunity to take a brief call on the Crimes Amendment Bill. One of the things that I kind of like in this place, I'm a bit unusual because I'm not someone who loves to make more legislation, but I'm quite excited about getting rid of a bit that's no use. And I think that's the thing that appeals to me about this bill. Well, there's another thing that appeals to me about this bill, but that's one of the things that really does appeal to me about this bill. And I listened to the debate led by Nick Smith actually earlier on about on the year and a day rule, and then the previous speaker just referred to the exact same point. And it would be an interesting debate during the committee stage to just see where that lands, or where some of the commentary on that lands, because I have a bit of difficulty myself with being found guilty of something that I wasn't guilty of at the time I wasn't guilty of it. And I think that that's going to be an interesting discussion as we go through it. But you can see that the law really is a bit of an ass, and particularly in the modern day and age with medical science being where it is, and the fact that we can, whether we like it or not, be kept alive, even again our will, for considerable periods of time. And so whilst there's that aspect to it, there's also the aspect to it of things that we built and did in a bygone time, really, and they then fall down as a result of a modern event. And you know, there's a great argument as to whether that is a criminal offence or not, as to whether it should be included in this kind of act. And so I think that debate will be really interesting as we go along. The other thing that kind of intrigues me is the blasphemous libel thing. And there was a time, of course, when New Zealand was made up of a few Presbyterians, a few Catholics and a lot of Anglicans, and one or two atheists. And of course, it was pretty simple in those days. The atheists weren't allowed to be miserable about the rest of us, and that's how it worked. But nowadays, of course, our society is hugely diverse. And so what was thought of as blasphemous libel, I suppose, 150 years ago, really anyone could take offence at that sort of thing nowadays, but we are such a diverse society and such a diverse community that the way we deal with those sort of things, I think, comes down to a lot of things in life, really results in mutual respect, basically. And so I don't mind what anyone else wants to do, as long as they don't want me to do it for them. And I think, or with them, and I think that's the kind of issue that we're dealing with, that blasphemous libel thing, and I think to get rid of it is absolutely appropriate. And the other thing that I think is an ask, we've seen a number of examples of this in recent times too, where people are protected against prosecution because of their association with the guilty party. And there's no question in my mind that that's a pretty well, it's a law that no longer should exist. And again, that's because society's changed dramatically, and even in our lifetime, but certainly changed dramatically in the last 100-odd years. So getting rid of that, I think, is an appropriate use of this Parliament as well, or use of this bill. So I think those people who've done the work on this bill should be congratulated. It does tidy up a few things that are untidy, and have, interestingly, two of them have been quite topical in the last few years in debates in this House. So to tidy that up, I think, is really good. And I think it keeps the statute books up to date. It's pretty positive. The only other thing I just want to very briefly touch on was the Minister, and I want to congratulate him on his great taste in bringing a very good supplementary order paper to the House, which no doubt will be dealt with during the course of the committee stage, and I want to thank him for that. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Chair McKelvie.
It is an absolute privilege to speak for a